So uploading our image worked with help of that image field, but viewing it, previewing it, for example, by clicking on this link here in the admin panel, that does not work. Because at the moment, our files are uploaded but not served. Now we can see that they are uploaded because there is an uploads folder, and in there is an images folder, and there I can find the image which I did upload. So that does work. But as I just said, serving them does not yet work. Now to make it work, we need to go to our main urls.py file in that folder which carries our project name. And there we need to add something to URL patterns, though not as an entry inside of that list, but instead we concatenate something by adding a plus after the list. That's something we can do in Python. And then here, we basically need to tell Python or Django that it should not just use these URLs and serve those pages, but also serve what we add thereafter. And for that, we want to tell Python to serve some files statically. Now, I did talk about static files before. We do have static files already, our CSS files, for example. Now, these are static files which we as a developer add in advance during development. File uploads, of course, are added at runtime by the users or administrators of our site. So that's different. They're not added in advance. Django out of the box during development serves those developer added CSS and so on files. So these developer added static files are served out of the box during development. For deployment, I dive deeply into that in my full course, and I show how to configure a web server to serve your static files as well. But during development, we don't have to worry about that. For user uploaded files, it's different. Those are not served out of the box, and we therefore have to add this code which we are about to add to make Django serve them. And for this, we first of all need to import something from django.conf.urls.static, and we import the static function from there. And then here we call that static function and concatenate the result of calling that function to our servable URLs. Now here we want to serve our upload folder under a certain URL, under a certain path that can be requested by the browser. And here I want to use the values defined in my settings. That's the uploads folder, and that's the path that should be used by the browser to then request my files. And therefore static first of all takes that browser path and then the actual upload folder. Now for this we need to import those values from our settings, and the most elegant and best way of doing that is to actually import Django conf, or from there import settings. And that gives you access to the settings you defined here and any other default settings Django might have. And then here we can reach out to settings media URL, so that we say that this is the path which the browser can send requests to. And if a request reaches that path, then that's the second value for static. We serve a certain folder and the files in that folder. And actually, that's not the second argument, but a keyword argument which I add here, the document root keyword argument. And here I want to set this to settings.media_root. And that is that folder, that path here on our server, which we defined here. And now with that, if we saved it all, and if we then restart our development server, if I reload this single meetup page, now if I click this link, I can preview this image. It's a pretty big image here, but previewing works. Now, of course, that's just the administration area. We will also, of course, work on the user-facing front end and display our images there. And that's actually the next thing I want to do there. Because if we have a look at our user-facing front end, so to say, then we only see this placeholder. Well, for that, of course, we got our templates. And in the templates, in the meetup item include snippet, to be precise, I have my image element here. And there we just need to plug in our image source now. Now, the great thing about Django, which is why it's really amazing, is that it makes it super simple. We don't have to manually come up with the URL of the image. No, we can just go here and expect to get the image, let's say. This is up to you since we're in this include snippet anyways. We'll have to make sure that this variable is provided to the snippet, and we'll do this in a second. And then here, for alt, we could, for example, use the title again, which we already use here. And then, and that's the interesting part, in the place where I use this snippet, where I now need to set this image variable, which is this index.html file here, there I can add this here, for example, set my image variable. And now we just have to reach out to our meetup item, which is one instance of that meetup class, which we defined before, of our meetup model. And there in that model, keep in mind we have that image field, named image. We can now access this image field, just as we accessed the title before as well. And this image field now actually is an object created under the hood by Django, which has a URL property, a URL field. And that's then the URL to the uploaded image. And we as a developer don't have to worry about constructing the full path, about finding out the file name that was uploaded. We just access this URL property on our image property on our model, and that's it. If I now save that and I reload this page, boom, here's my image. And that's how easy it is to add file upload and to then serve those files to your visitors with Django.